Could you be addicted to masturbation? Let's examine some rather telling signs. Addiction in any form is often invisible to those ensnared by its grip. It's like a slow tide that gradually pulls you away from the shore of your normal life. The first sign, often overlooked, is neglecting responsibilities. When an addiction to masturbation takes hold, you may find yourself shirking off duties. Maybe you're missing deadlines at work, your grades are slipping at school, or perhaps you're ignoring personal obligations. The pursuit of immediate gratification begins to overshadow the long-term goals and responsibilities that once held your focus. So if you're finding yourself consistently choosing pleasure over duty, it might be time to take a step back, reassess your priorities, and consider seeking help. Because remember, it's not about guilt or shame, it's about finding balance and reclaiming control over your life. If you're consistently choosing pleasure over duty, you might want to reassess your priorities. Are you sacrificing precious sleep for a quick fix? Addiction has a crafty way of reshaping our routines, and masturbation addiction is no different. It can insidiously creep into our sleep schedules, compelling us to stay up late or rouse us from our slumber in the early hours. The pursuit of temporary pleasure starts to outweigh the need for a good night's rest. Remember that sleep is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Our bodies and minds require it to function optimally. So, if you find yourself consistently losing sleep over masturbation, it might be a red flag indicating a deeper issue. Sleep is vital, and consistently losing it over masturbation might be a sign of addiction. Is your body paying the price for your pleasure? When the quest for pleasure crosses the line, it might start taking a toll on your body. You might experience physical discomforts, such as a lingering soreness or chafing. This could be your body's way of telling you that it's time to slow down. Remember, anything in excess can lead to unwanted consequences. It's all about balance. This discomfort is not just a minor inconvenience, it's a red flag. Physical discomfort is a clear sign that your body needs a break. Are you masked with guilt after your private time? This is a telltale sign that something could be going wrong. Addiction often brings with it a heavy cloak of guilt and shame, feelings that seem to linger long after the act. It's like being caught in a cycle. The act brings relief, but then the guilt sets in, and the cycle repeats. Over time, these feelings of guilt and shame can compound, creating a wall of negative emotions that can be hard to break down. Remember, your personal time should be a source of relaxation, not regret. Guilt or shame should not be a regular part of your routine. Are you pushing away your loved ones for some alone time? This could be a sign that you're isolating yourself, which is a common consequence of addiction. When a habit becomes an addiction, it starts to take over your life, and often, this means putting the addiction before anything else, including your relationships. Imagine this: you're skipping social events, avoiding friends or family, or even lying about your whereabouts just to get some alone time. You might find yourself constantly making excuses, preferring the comfort of your own space where you can fuel your addiction in peace. It's not that you don't enjoy the company of others, but your addiction is making you prioritize it over everything else. This isolation can lead to loneliness, which can further fuel the addiction. It's a vicious cycle, and the more you isolate, the deeper you sink into the addiction. It's not just about the physical act of masturbation, it's the mental and emotional toll it takes on you and your relationships. This isolation isn't just about being alone, it's about the disconnect you feel from the world around you, and the walls you're building between yourself and your loved ones. It's about the loneliness that comes not from being alone, but from being cut off, lost in your own world. Isolation is a red flag that your habit may be becoming an addiction. It's a sign that it's time to take a step back, reevaluate your habits, and consider seeking help. Are you stuck in a cycle of trying to quit, but always falling back into old habits? This is sign 6, and it can be a tough one to recognize. You see, breaking free from a masturbation addiction isn't as easy as flipping a switch. It's more like trying to break free from a cycle that keeps circling back to square one no matter how hard you try to change direction. Think of it like this: you're driving a car, and you keep circling the same roundabout, taking the same exit over and over again. You desperately want to take a different exit, to break free from this repetitive cycle, but each time you try, you find yourself back on the same old path. The cycle of addiction can be relentless. You quit, you relapse, you quit again, and then relapse again. It's an exhausting, frustrating, and demoralizing process. You might even start to believe that you're powerless, that breaking free is impossible. But that's far from the truth. You see, the fact that you're trying to quit, that you're acknowledging there's a problem and want to change, is a huge step forward. But if you're finding it impossible to quit, despite repeated attempts, you might be dealing with a deeper issue that you can't handle on your own. If you're struggling to quit despite repeated attempts, it might be time to seek help. So, are these signs ringing any bells? Let's quickly recap. Neglecting responsibilities, losing sleep, experiencing physical discomfort, feeling guilty or ashamed, isolating yourself, and trying to quit but finding it tough. These are the 6 signs of a masturbation addiction we've discussed. Each sign is a potential red flag, indicating that the habit may be crossing a line into addiction territory. It's crucial to pay attention to these signals, as they're often the first step towards seeking help. Remember, there's no shame in seeking help. You're not alone in this journey.